It's music video episode 2 with Emma Meldrum.
Do I wanna be a phase?
If you don't know me, my name is Alex and I'm a student filmmaker. Now if you've been following this channel for a while, then this face needs no introduction. Okay, I can't leave you on a cliffhanger like that. It's Emma Meldrum, a longtime filmmaking friend of mine. And just in case this face does need an introduction, then I highly suggest you go watch the Amalgamate music video right now. Link is in the description and the pinned comment. So ever since the last time I did a music video with Emma, which was Scarlet Indigo, we both knew we gotta do this shit again. So almost immediately after publishing Scarlet Indigo, we went straight to trying to figure out what song we wanted to do the next video for. Some ideas got passed around. We were thinking of songs like There Are Flowers Blooming in Antarctica and Waiting for Tomorrow. But then I got some news. Emma's working on a secret project, and she's also about to release a single, which is gonna end up being this project's flagship song. You probably already know that I'm talking about Amalgamate. So, naturally, all of our attention went to this song, and we were like, oh yeah, this is the one. So, pre-production. And you better stick around for this bit, cause pre-production is actually kind of interesting for this one. It actually went quite a bit back. We were conceptualizing little bits and pieces of Amalgamate together while I was still in high school, but I didn't start realizing all of my ideas till we both actually met each other again and put our brains together in late July. So here's the concept we came up with. A house of traumatic memories. Also ink. Lots of ink. So let's address these two. First, the whole traumatic house thing. So for those who don't know, Amalgamate is a song about not wanting to be a hookup. Remember kids, it is very important to have consent before you try funny business. So the idea is we have a house where bad thing happens to Emma, and then she writes a song about the trauma from bad thing. Also we're going to represent the guy that does bad thing with a pair of ink covered hands, and then lots of ink, a literal infectious amount of ink. Oh yeah, I gotta figure out how to get ink all over someone's house without actually leaving a mess and staining everything. So it's time for Cooking with Murdock, and today we are going to make washable fake prop ink. To do this, we're going to need dish soap, peanut butter, and washable black tempera paint. The first thing we're going to do is pour out all of the dish soap into some kind of container, and then we take a tiny glob of peanut butter and use a rubber paddle to break it all up until it's dissolved. It's looking a little gross right now, but this gross substance is going to turn into a very deep ink-like color after we put in our paint. Just 1 drop, no, 2 drops, no, 3 drops. That's more like it. After a bit of stirring, it becomes this. Now all you have to do is strain the ink through a fine mesh sieve, and bada bing bada boom, a huge mess in my kitchen. Oh, and a few bottles of fake ink that can be washed out of skin, clothes, fabrics, surfaces, and more with just water. And it even smells like peanuts. With that solved, now it's script time. The script is pretty close to being a direct transfer of the two of our thoughts in the music video. We both stayed up late and mashed our nocturnal brains into some sort of lyrical mush, and boom, script. Unlike Scarlet Indigo, where I did most of the work myself, we wrote the vast majority of Amalgamate together. That being said, I also spent a good bit of my own time working on it as well. And I think the best way to get some work done is to sit back, relax, and soak up the beautiful scenery on board an Amtrak train. Amtrak, please sponsor me. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next thing because I think talking about screenplays is a little boring. Production day 1. Alright, but before that, I'm gonna share a
Fun fact number 1. Amalgamate was conceptualized after I messaged a friend about needing a song idea. They responded with, pick a feeling and give me a word. And I picked hesitation and mangled. In fact, the now scrapped first writings of the song are referenced in both the trailer and the music video. These are the words, I'm staring into you now, is this really what I want? To love like all the others do and never tie the knot.
Thanks, Emma. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Meldrum household. Cat. Yeah, Emma's house ended up being the set for the music video because nobody we were friends with had a suitable house that we could spill ink all over. We couldn't just make a set either because, like Scarlet Indigo, we had to produce Amalgamate on a very tight budget, probably even tighter than Scarlet Indigo. Thankfully, the budget didn't have to go much towards new equipment, but I do have a newcomer to the filmmaking party, that being... Warning, people! This Tokina ATX Pro 28-70mm f2.8 autofocus lens, dated to around 1994 and imported from Japan. You can tell it's a JDM because the Japan model is actually advertised as f2.8 all the way through, and the international model is actually variable aperture, from f2.6 to f2.8, though the JDM does have some light loss as you zoom in. Regardless of the aperture though, supposedly the rumor with this lens is that it has optics designed by famous cine lens manufacturer Ingenue. I wouldn't be surprised if the rumors are true though, since the image quality is soft, dreamy, and flatteringly filmic. A bunch of the equipment from my previous projects are here too, including my Canon EOS R7 and DJI Rs 3 Mini from Pointless Stop Sign, and my Helios 44-2, which I first used on Brocode. Now while we prepare this house to get absolutely drenched in black dish soap, let me introduce you to our crew. Starting with the grand return of Knibbs, also known as Fritz from Bittersweet Expectations.
In 6th grade you were annoying.
On our first day, our main focus was getting the morning shots out of the way. Emma wakes up, goes to the bathroom, vomits out ink, goes insane, those scenes.
If it has the texture of something else, that wasn't intentional.
Might I say, we knocked those out shockingly quickly. What I didn't tell you earlier is that I made another batch of ink from corn syrup and food coloring instead of dish soap, which became the ink that Emma vomits. I warned Emma that because of the corn syrup, the food grade ink was going to be ridiculously sweet.
Cut.
Now here's a bottleneck that I didn't expect. It was really awkward trying to get the bird's eye angles without any sort of rig, and I felt like I was gonna fall over and accidentally give Emma a concussion with my camera at any given point.
Oh, this is hard. Oh man. Okay, I'm actually gonna get up here. Jesus Christ. Okay,
And because of that, the final shot's focus also wasn't pulled correctly. Fun fact number 2. This blanket was not supposed to be an Amalgamate. Remember that other blanket from the Scarlet Indigo behind the scenes? I told Emma that she should dig it out, but she told me on the day of the shoot that she lost it. So in a hurry I go to the department store. I tried to find a blanket, but the only one they sold was part of a $150 set. No thank you. After that I rushed to a home furnishing store, and they sold flat sheets for a much more reasonable price. So that's what you ended up seeing in the final video. Production day 2 is where we focused on getting the night scenes done with Inkman. We thought that day 1 was going to be messy, but day 2 turned the messiness factor up to 11. This is where our 2 other production members joined the team. In addition to Raven, we also have Alara Husmann returning from the crew of Bittersweet Expectations.
Oh, cool. I like racism.
And new to the team is Cady Alki, finishing off the dynamic trio of Inkness or something.
Well, right now you're fatherless.
Everyone I mentioned here played a very crucial role in conducting this inky mess. And by conducting, that pretty much means making sure I don't accidentally get the house completely trashed. Our goal for production day 2 was to finish every scene that takes place at night. This ranged from running up and down stairs to drenching the floor with boatloads of ink. Managing that ink just sucked. Even after putting together a crew of 5, the aforementioned time taken to figure out the ink really bit into my time management. The scenes we were trying to finish filming was only about 45 seconds worth of footage. When we finally reached halfway through the checklist, we already spent 5 hours on set, and everyone needed to go home for the night. That was fun, only half sarcastic, but not as fun as
Fun fact number 3. I made 19 versions of Amalgamate, 15 being pre-release and 4 being for the music video. I kept finding little things to edit and tweak after sending me the footage, which is honestly just like Alex. The earliest version was in a completely different key, had a more understated backing, and had very different backing vocals, which I'll admit I wish I kept. Here's an excerpt.
Do I wanna be a face? Maybe I just want to suffocate.
Production day 3. So at this point I was starting to go a little bit crazy cause things weren't going at my expected pace. Again.
Crazy. I was crazy.
You don't.
And not only that, this day Emma was hosting a dinner party for a bunch of her friends at her house. That meant the rest of the night scenes we needed to film would have to be filmed during the day. and day for night filmmaking is my favorite. Thankfully, during production day 2, I had thought of this in advance and boarded up all of Emma's windows with poster boards and lots of gaff tape.
Meow, I know. You're a good girl. You're a good girl.
That only ended up kinda working. Well, regardless, I was able to get the rest of the necessary ink mess scenes filmed before the dinner party.
Yo, what's up, Emma Meldrum Nation? It's me, Emma Meldrum.
The parts of the video that looked obviously filmed during daytime, I was able to fix up somewhat convincingly in post, which I'll explain later. But then upon trying to edit everything, I realized we never planned the replacement shots. But Alex, I hear you ask, what do you mean replacement shots? You never mentioned replacement shots. Well, here's the thing. We were originally going to pass on some parts of the music video to another person to create an animated bit, but that plan never ended up turning out, and I forgot to write extra shots to account for the gap. Me and Emma thought to ourselves, it's all coming out wrong. But if you thought to yourself, is it over? Then clearly you haven't seen the other videos on this channel, because as Emma once told me,
You just don't know when to quit, do you?
Production day 4. So this day was just a brief stop at Emma's to film a few gap filler shots and some extra shot angles for some of the other shots that we got. There wasn't much to take away from this day other than that I spent nearly a third of my time trying to drop a remote on the ground. While we did do a few gap filler shots here, most of the gap fillers we decided to do somewhere else. But before I talk about that, fun fact number 4. Some folk know me for only ever wearing gray hoodies during the colder months of the year. In Amalgamate, I actually decided to sacrifice one of my gray hoodies for this shot. We even wished the thing a pleasant death with a ritual.
Wait, hold on.
Wait.
Hang on. I said that ink was washable, didn't I? I lied. The ink turned out to only be washable in small spots and in small quantities. When we dumped half a bottle of ink on top of the hoodie though, yeah, there was no saving the poor thing. The stains never came out. Production day 5. Now this day is going to be way different from the rest, and that's because we are stepping away from Casa de Meldrum and revisiting the good old filmmaker's paradise, Soggy Bottom Farm. And what Soggy Bottom Farm is complete without Ivan Mirro, black belt in Hamudo, eating lettuce, owning farms, and throat singing, apparently. On the farm, we shot the scenes where Emma is performing her song in the porch outside of Ivan's house. Because apparently Ivan's house is Emma's now.
I've been isekai'd into an anime. Hey there, I couldn't help but notice you were
That aside, I just wanted to shoot at Ivan's cause Emma lives smack in the middle of suburbia, and suburbia looks unimpressive. The performing the song sequence was planned all along, and it wasn't a gap filler that I added on later. But what we did end up introducing in the music video later on was the desk scene. This was the scene that ended up replacing the scrapped bit. We ended up filming the scene in the attic of the Garage Mahal. That's the same building we used for Pointless Stop Sign.
Oh, Emma, let me show you the darky dark. Don't be scared. Just come with me.
That's my line.
Incredibly, every bit of filming for this project wrapped in 5 days. But before I talk about post-production, I'm gonna hit you with
Fun fact number 5. The voices in the background are actual pieces of dialogue. When isolated, they sound a bit like this. I made it so the voices moved around your head as you listen to the song, as, quote, the song takes place inside the mind.
post-production. So I started post-production pretty much immediately after production day 1. Now, talking about editing the whole thing is kinda boring, so I'm just gonna take you through the highlights and the new stuff that I got to know for this project. Well, I would show you if it wasn't for the fact that I was missing even more B-roll shots and footage. Oops. Production days, I don't know, there were multiple days where I did extra stuff. Sorry, no Emma here, it's just me this time. That's my second time saying that in one of these videos, only this time I am not making a pilgrimage back to some random tunnel in the mountains. No, I have to patch up even more of my awful planning with extra B-roll shots and audio. For the B-roll shots, I just went back to the farm. The hand you see at the very beginning of the video is actually my hand and not the actual ink man. See, I pulled a sneaky on ya. I also needed to record some extra Foley to add into the beginning and the end of the video. So I packed my mic in my bag and I went outside and... Hang on, that doesn't look like Washington. That's right, I moved to California. Welcome to my new home, UC Davis, where as you'd probably expect, I am indeed a cinema and digital media major. The little bit of extra sound recording I did away from campus in the dead of night, so I wouldn't have any extra noise. Well, except when I tried recording the ambient sound, I realized that the freeway can be heard from several miles away. So I ended up outsourcing the ambient audio to Ivan. Everything else I got recorded just fine though, including the sounds of walking down a boardwalk and the sound of breathing in and breathing out. Wait, hang on, those sounds weren't in the video. Fun fact number 6. Besides the animated sequence I mentioned earlier, there is in fact another cut scene from Amalgamate, and I only have myself to blame for that scene getting cut. It was an opening scene that was supposed to be at the start of the video, where Emma opens the door, walks out of the house, and sits down to play the guitar. Unfortunately, due to my negligence, different parts of that scene were filmed at different times of day, and there was only so much I could do to make it look consistent in post. Eventually, as you could see in the final product, we ended up replacing it with text and sound effects. Back to your routinely scheduled programming. Post-production, part 2. Now let's talk about something interesting. The title animation. I started off with the Amalgamate logo as a basis. The Amalgamate logo is actually a trace of Emma's handwriting. I traced it over with a brush pen. From here, I drew extra frames and warped the frames in Krita. The final animation was digitally motion tracked onto a sheet of paper, which thankfully I was smart enough to draw tracking markers onto. And of course, tracking everything on requires me to do all the work in Fusion. And that gave me the most aneurysm-inducing node tree that I have ever made. I am still new to Fusion. The tracking markers had to get removed, and then the animated logo was composited on top. Now that that's out of the way, I'm going to finish off this last bit of post-production by showing you some incredibly pointless OCD-driven edits that you probably didn't notice and you probably wouldn't care about. Do you see that chair there? That chair actually has the Fortnite logo on it. I blurred it out. Remember those Inkman scenes that we filmed during the daytime? I made it nighttime. This is just done through magic masking the foreground and darkening the background. And the ink that Emma vomited out in the sink was not black enough. It looked greenish because of the food coloring. I made it black. And that's just a few of the arguably stupid edits. Hopefully I've hid the rest of the stupid edits well enough to where you wouldn't notice them. That being said though, one person that is definitely in the know of all the stupid edits that I made is none other than Emma. Speaking of which, let's see what she thinks of the music video.
I literally cannot stop watching this video. Seriously, it's so beautiful, so horrifying, so soul-crushing, and it perfectly captured how I felt when I wrote that song. Some of my favorite shots include the grabbing hair in the intro, the I don't think I like this anymore shot on the stairs, and the entire desk scene. Alex has always been an absolute genius, and that shows with every single part of this video. I mean, look at this shot. How cool is that? I'm so honored to be able to work with one of my closest friends, and I hope we can work together again in the future.
And that's another music video in the books. I hope you guys enjoyed me and Emma's little passion project, and this little behind the scenes video too. The only thing left for me to do now is to commit to making the next music video even better, and that means going back on set. Thanks for watching!
Hey there, it's me, Emma Meldrum, from the hit music video Scarlet Indigo. Just wanted to let you know that I am cool and awesome. That's right, cool and awesome. And why am I cool and awesome? 'Cause I'm cool and awesome. And you know whose phone this is? Alex Murdock's. And you know what Alex Murdock is? Hey, that's right, baby boy. Cool and awesome. Cool and